Today's video is about one of my biggest musical heroes. Elton John is the first piano player that I really got into when I was about 9 or 10 years old. I did everything that I could to mimic his playing style as a young kid. But beyond his playing style and techniques, which we can talk about a little bit later, something that always fascinated me about Elton's live performances was the sound of his piano. If you're a keyboard player or have even a little bit of experience with pianos or keyboards in general, you know that the sound that's coming from Elton's grand piano on stage is a little bit synthetic, for lack of a better term. Now, this isn't a bad thing. When you're playing in front of 40,000 people, it's not always ideal to stick 2 microphones and a piano and call it a day. When you're playing with a band as big and as loud as his in front of so many people, there is often a need for MIDI or a digital signal to come out of the piano to feed external sound units in order to beef up the piano sound. This is not too unusual. So the legend has it that Elton's piano sound really comes from 2 main pieces of gear. One is the Yamaha Motif, the other is the classic Roland MKS-20, which is based off of the RD-1000. It seems that there's a pretty big consensus that these 2 units comprise his signature sound. So what did I do? I went on eBay and I bought a Yamaha Motif, which is right here. Kind of a sentimental thing for me because when I was a kid, I had the original Motif. It came out in 2001, so it's already kind of a classic piece, which is hard to believe. As far as the other half of Elton's sound, which is the Roland MKS-20, I didn't buy one of those because I ran out of money. So instead I'm using Keyscape, which has an MKS-20 built in that works perfectly. So today we're going to combine these 2 things, maybe add some reverb, work with some EQ, and see if the legend is true and if we can recreate Elton's live piano sound using these 2 units. Let's hear what each machine sounds like individually. First, the Roland MKS-20, which I am told is the bigger part of his sound, about 70 to 75%. This is a modeled piano from decades ago, so it's not recorded or sampled. Let's check it out. So it's a bit of a synthetic sound. It was pretty amazing for the time, decades ago when it came out. Now for the second part of the sound, which is the Yamaha Motif rack. I can definitely hear that as part of his sound, although it's not as prominent as the Roland MKS-20 is. Okay, now for the moment of truth. Let's combine these 2 units and see if the legend is true. Yeah, I definitely hear it. It needs some tweaking. I added a little bit of treble to the MKS-20 and rolled off some bass, which I like to do with piano sounds in general because they'll just cut through the mix a little bit better. Here's what it sounds like without EQ. And now with. When I listen to Elton, I hear that MKS-20 just cutting through a little bit more. I'm not a sound engineer, but I do know how to tweak an EQ a little bit, so to me that's a positive difference. And I definitely think that the Roland should be quite a bit higher in the mix, which is what a lot of people on the forums that I've been looking at are saying. If we make the Motif really loud like this, it's just not quite right. It needs to sit a bit lower. It really is like 70% Roland, 30% of the Yamaha. Let's add some reverb and do some tweaks, and then I'll play for you guys. I added a bit of Space Designer, which is a nice free reverb that comes with Logic. I've got to say, the more I play it, the more I like it, the more I understand why Elton has kind of made this his signature sound. It's not really the sound that you hear on his studio albums, but it is what you hear live. And I get it. I mean, it just cuts through. It's unique. You know it's him. It's very responsive, especially the Roland, since it's a modeled sound. It's very, very responsive. And I like the Motif sound more than I thought I would. When I was a kid, I even thought it was a little bit dated, but I'm understanding now that the purpose isn't really to imitate the world's greatest 9-foot Bosendorfer Grand. The point is to get something that sounds like a piano, that's going to serve the purpose of a piano and really cut through a mix with a band in front of people. So what do you guys think? Do you like the sound? Did I get close? Hopefully I did. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.